It's a great zechut to be together on such an evening on what I would consider to be the most important topic in the entire world to discuss. It is something that is so very fundamental, the Jewish family, the shidduch. And it's an interesting thing because sometimes a person has to know the basis of even going out, the technique of going out. Now you're going to say, what technique? So I saw this afternoon from the great Stipler. He said when a person goes out, they have to know what to use for conversation. To make conversation, sometimes people are quiet, sometimes you got to break the ice, so what do you talk about? Here is what the Stipler says. Tell over stories of Gedolim, stories of Chacham Yosef, stories of Rav Elyashiv. That will make it go. That will get the shidduch going. Now, you think about it and you say, what do you mean? I got to talk about things today. I got to talk about current things. And the answer is that in shidduchim, people are looking for ruchnius. Gashmius, there's a whole world full of materialism. How we get along, that can be very quick. I can get to know that. But if I have a deeper connection, if I can relate to that person in a way that could be so special that they could be my zivug, they could end up being my marriage partner, I've got to go a level deeper and see how do we relate to each other ruchnius-wise, spiritually. I tell you, I had a Talmud, and I think he could have used a couple of lessons. The Talmud went out, and he went for a date. He went to the city. All of a sudden, after he left, about 2 hours later, I get a call. And he's on the phone. And he's all excited. Rabbi, I got to ask you a question. I said, what's the problem? So he says, well, all of a sudden, we sat down. And all of a sudden, the girl that I took out, she ran out. She ran out. I said, well, what happened? How did it go? She just didn't run out like that, did she? She says, well, I asked her something. I said, what did you ask? I said, do you want to marry me? I said, this is your first time you're going out. You're sitting down for 10 minutes yet. He said, Rabbi, what should I do? I said, well, first of all, go and run after her. Wherever she's at in the city, go and find her. He's running down the street looking for her all over. Obviously, a person has to know what is the correct way, the mahalach, the derech, when to ask, what to say, what to show interest in. Even things that are technicalities may, unfortunately, may railroad the whole shidduch. A person's not careful. We are used to looking at our phones, right? So in the meantime, the guy was waiting for an important call, and he keeps taking out his telephone. He keeps looking at it. So the girl said, you know, it's more interesting from the telephone than going out with a live person. So she said no. And the guy was very upset. The guy called me up and said that this is what she said, that he's looking at the telephone a lot, and how does he get it back going on the track? So I said to him, listen, when you're going out, to me, leave your phone at home. Leave your phone in the car. Turn it off. But once she's going to see that you're interested in the telephone, it's not going to go too far. So after a lot of apologizing, he did go out with her. It didn't quite get to the finish line, but it's important that we see that we are interested in others. The phone cannot be a substitute. If we're a little bit nervous on the date, going on the outing, the phone cannot be the one that fills in the time. A person's got to learn it. Now, there are several different areas that I would like to go into, and I do want to say that this evening it should be a tremendous schus to Rav Moshe Chai Merov, a tremendous schus. I feel that anybody that undertakes to sponsor a shir on shidduchim, it is the highest level that a person could possibly do in order to bring closer their shidduchim. Why? Whoever prays for their friend, davar, and the person needs the same thing, hunene, Techillah. He's the one that gets answered first. So in the zchut that he worries about others and he prays for others, he should be answered be'ezrat Hashem bekarov. And it's an interesting thing, because there was a great Rav Bolman. I don't know if you heard him, Kiryat Nachaliel, Rav Bolman. So there was a girl that came to Rav Bolman and said to Rav Bolman, she wants a shidduch and it's difficult for her. What should she do? Rav Bolman said, I know another girl. The girl is in the United States of America and she needs a shidduch. Give to me your name and your mother's name. I will get her name and her mother's name. We'll exchange it and you pray for her. She will pray for you. Baruch Hashem, they did it. And within a certain amount of time, they both became a kala. So it's an important thing. A lot of times a person doesn't realize the energy in terms of praying, being mitpalel, praying for a shidduch is the greatest single thing that a person can do. First of all, everything comes through tefillah. Everything comes through prayer. The second thing is, when the malach showed to the great Shmuel ben Elisha up in Shemayim, a lot of gezerot, a lot of bad things that were happening. So Rabbi Shmuel said, tell me, what can I do? How can I be mevatel the gezerot? How can I get these bad decrees away? So he said, there's one way, the malach said. Answer, Yehei Shmei Rabbah. Answer with all your might during tefillah. You can be mevatel all the gezerot. All the bad decrees you can annul. So this is the yesod. Even chas v'shalom, a person has a gezerah. Even there's a decree, by prayer we break through the decree. And it's interesting because we see it in the halakha in terms of when a person is allowed to make a party for an engagement or for a even for a marriage. When is a person allowed to make the party, yes or no? So the question is, and I'm asked it at least once every year, during the 9 days, right? 9 days from Rosh Chodesh Av until Tisha B'Av. It's a time of sadness. It's a time of Ktsat Avelut. It's a time of a little bit of mourning. So everybody says, are we allowed to make the Vort, the L'chaim, during that time, the engagement party? The answer is yes. A person is allowed. What is the reason why? A very interesting thing. Really, we shouldn't be able to do it, but we are allowed to do it. Even Erev Tisha B'Av. Even a person wants to make it the night before Tisha B'Av, they can make it. Why? The answer is Shema Yikadmena Acher. We are afraid that somebody else will come along, and before the Kala is ready to go to her engagement party, he's going to steal her away. He's going to take her somewhere else, Jersey, and she'll be his Kala. So you take a look at it and you say, well, you better watch your Kala, you better watch your Chatan. No! The Torah says not what we're talking about. Shema Yikadmeno Acher B'Tfilah. He's going to be praying so hard. Really, I wanted her. I wanted her. Sarah, she's the greatest girl in the world. I wanted to have her. And what happens? I'm praying so hard, I may be successful to take her away from her chatan. Shema Yikadmeno Acher. So hurry up and make the vort, make it official, put it on wherever you put it on, make it official and let everybody know, because that is what a person should do. In Shidduchim, there is a clock, and the clock runs. There is a shas kosher. There's a proper time. And when that proper time comes around, you got to be careful to do it. I had a guy, and the guy was going out for 2 years. Sugar, 2 years? What's he doing for 2 years? 2 years, you could build a family. Okay, 2 years. So he's going out for 2 years. I always thought him whenever he came over to me. He was a nice fellow. I said, Yossi, when are you going to do the big question? When are you going to pop the question? He says, I'm waiting for the time in Shemayim when it's I'm able to see stars. And at that time, I say, you know what, I'll buy you a kaleidoscope and you're going to see all the stars and that little thing. Then you know it's ready to go. Okay, he calls me up. Rabbi, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what happened? all of a sudden, there was a guy that came in from Eretz Yisrael, came from Yerushalayim, and he took her out. I said, what happened? She liked him. And she went out with him a few times. And he did something very, very not nice. I said, what'd he do? He proposed to her. I said, no. How could he do such a... I'm in the middle of going out with her. I said, Yossi, how many years you going to be in the middle of going out with her? I mean, eventually, she's going to smell the coffee. A person has to know. There is a shasa kosher. Pick up the time. Do it. Run with the ball. Don't let it wait, because in shidduchim, anything could happen at any given moment. It is something that there is such hashgacha, there is such divine providence. Chazon Ish said, it's difficult to see sometimes divine providence. Shidduchim. I want to see hashgacha in the world. Tell me the hashgacha. So many things, I got to just have emunah. I would like to know exactly how it works. I want to know exactly when this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And Hashem, show me the plan, why this went on, and I was supposed to get the promotion and work, and my neighbor got the promotion, or I got 2 promotions, whatever it is. But those things we don't know. When it will be the time in the future. So Hashem will show us the reason why everything happened. At the end, everything will be revealed. But in Shidduchim, says the Chazon Ish, it's revealed. In Shidduchim, a person is able to see it in front of them. The divine providence, how it unfolds right in front of us. Unbelievable. I had a friend, many, many years. He tried to get married. Ish tzaddik. Unbelievable. Malad of zechuyot. Couldn't get married. Couldn't get married. Problem. Everybody felt bad for him. Somehow it didn't work. A guy came in from Eretz Yisrael. He needed some medical tipulim. He needed a little bit of medical, some visits and some procedures. So he came. He didn't have a place to stay. So my friend had a little studio apartment. And he didn't have a place to stay. So my friend said, you could stay with me. So for 4 weeks, he stayed with him. For 4 weeks, he cared about him. That guy from Israel didn't have money to buy food. He cared. He bought food for him. He made sure that he drank. The couple of times he arranged rides to go to the hospital to bring him back. He was making sure that he had everything that he needed. On Shabbat, he stayed home. He made Shabbat for him instead of going out. He took care of him day and night. He didn't know him from nowhere. Olam chesed, yibaneh. You want to build a world, do chesed. So, interesting. He's going back to Israel. And he says to my good friend Elio, what could I send you from Israel? We have such nice things, such beautiful things. What could I send you? Rabbi Leo said, I don't need anything. I really tell you, I'm very happy that we met each other and I was able to help, but I can't think of anything. So he says, I tell you what, I'm going to be in Netivot. When I go back, I'm going to go to Baba Sali's kever and I'm going to pray for you. My friend said, okay. He gave him his name and his mama's name. The guy went back. Elio receives a telephone call from a shadchanta. The lady gets on the phone. Hello, Elio. So, yeah? I would like to make a shidduch. So my friend says, well, tell me, who is the person? I'll give a recommendation for him. No. It's for you. He hadn't received the call in so long, he didn't believe that the shadchan was calling about him. She read him a shidduch. He went out. He got married. They found out the time when he got married, when he went out for the first time, and he got the call, was shortly after this man had gone to the kever of Baba Sali. Tefillah, not any great mystical solution, just a person prays. And they put in their heart, from the depths of their heart, they pray to Hashem, anything can happen. Shem yikad menu acher. Even the couple is already engaged or almost engaged. And it's a she'ela lalacha, of course, if a couple's already engaged, then you can't tamper with it. You can't. I've been asked once or twice over the years, if a couple's engaged, could I pray that they become unengaged? No, you can't pray that. You may be interested in that, but that's not the way things work. A person should know that through tefillah, much can be accomplished. And that is, Alzos yispalel kochosid elecha le'es mitzo. Omer Rabbi Chanina le'es mitzo zu isha. When a person comes to the parak of Shidduchim, when a person gets ready to get married, they should know one thing. Pray from the innermost of their heart. And there are various times in tefillah, in the Amidah and Shemona Esrei, when a person can keep this in mind. And it's extremely powerful, more powerful than anything else that we could ever imagine, is the zchut, is the merit of praying. Likutei Moharan, just to give you an idea, Likutei Moharan says that every single thing in this world should come through tefillah. And he gives an example that if a person does not pray and they get a bracha in this world, so it's like the elephant in the zoo. The elephant in the zoo walks around in the cage, and some good people come, Chol Hamoed, Pesach, they go to the zoo, right? And what do? They buy those peanuts from the vending machine, and the elephant's inside, and they go, hey, Dumbo, whatever the guy's name is, and they throw him the peanuts. Did the elephant pray? No. Elephant gets pure material existence. Says Rabbi Nachman, if a person gets their food and they didn't pray for it, if a person gets the brachot in life and they didn't pray for it, it's on the level of materialism. It's like the elephant in the zoo or the monkey or whatever. A person has to know that everything is al yedei tefillah, that a person prays for it, that they come in the morning and they say, Hashem, please, I want to fulfill your ratzon. I want to do your will. I want to get married. I want to bring a family, Bezrat Hashem. I want to have all the good things here in this world in order to establish a home, a bayit ne'eman b'Yisrael. Hashem, I am ready to do your will. Please, bring forth a zivug to me. A person that asks Hashem in that way. So Hashem looks at it and says, this individual wants to do the ratzon of Hashem. What could be bigger than that person? So I just want to say that everybody, through tefillah, anything can happen. Even a person thinks, chas v'shalom, I've been praying for a long time. I daven for a long time. I tried this, I tried that. A lot of people come in, I've tried this. We should know one thing. It does not matter if a person tried. It can be the time that a person will try that one more time, or put in a little more feeling, or a little more kavanah, and that zechut is going to be the time that they're going to be answered. You know that they put up on Purim the piñata. You know the piñata, that thing? So it's up there, right? So a guy hits it, inside they got gold and silver and coins and money. So he hits it, then it break, right? Then the next guy hits it, then it break. Then the next guy hits it 5 times, it didn't break. Pete gives up, the other guy gives up, they all go home. Then one little guy comes in, he takes his stick, boom, and everything comes down. That's tefillah. When a person says, no, I prayed, I already hit the piñata, now I'm done with it. Too much work, I have to hit it. But don't worry about the work. Pray. Pray from the omek haneshama, from the depths of the soul, and a person will be answered. Ze ani kara, v'Hashem shomea, u'mikol tzarato hoshio. Hashem saved them from all the tzarot, from everything, from every challenge in life. That's what we say, and that's what we believe be'emunah shlema. So it's the first thing, tefillah, pray, put it on the top of a person's list. When they're going out for a shidduch, so in that moment before they go out, pray. I'm going out b'siyata dishmaya. Not I'm going out tonight to the city, we're going out. I am going b'siyata dishmaya. I'm going to meet him b'siyata dishmaya, or bezrat Hashem, or with God's help. I don't care if you say it in Swahili, but a person has to know, we say we are going out with Hashem's help. Then we bring Hashem into it. Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet came into the world just to teach a person that whenever you're going to attempt to do something, always say, B'siyata dishmaya. I am going with the help of heaven, and then the person will be matzliach, they will be successful. Now, a lot of times a person goes out, and this is a very important thing. There is a zivug for each person, and that zivug is min hashamayim. In shamayim, it is a zachar and a nekeva. Every neshama is a male and a female. The zachar gets born, goes into a little baby boy. The nekeva, the female, goes into a little baby girl. It was one. They spend their time in this world, in Queens, in Brooklyn, in Los Angeles, in Idaho, no matter where they're at in the world, Australia and England and Ireland and Dublin, well, doesn't matter. And eventually, they're going to find each other again. The same neshama is going to reunite, and that is the zivug. Now, a person has to know that sometimes we have the zchut to meet our zivug, and we don't know about it. It's similar to the great Vorker. I just want to say it for one moment. The Vorker, the great Rabbi Yitzchak Vork, he told a chassid who wanted to see Mashiach. He wanted to see Mashiach. We would all like to see Mashiach, right? Bezrat Hashem. So he told him that you should go to the train station, come early in the morning. The very first train that comes in, the first man that comes off the train is going to be Mashiach Tzidkenu. Maaseh Shaya, it happened. So he goes down to the train station. It's over in Poland. The first guy that comes, he thinks he's Polish. So he says to him, good morning in Polish, Dzień dobry. The first guy just walks past him. He goes to the Vorker and he says, Rabbi, you told me the first guy that comes off the train, that's going to be Mashiach, and it didn't happen. So the Vorker said, you know, when you saw the first guy, what did you say to him? You told him, good morning in Polish. We think Mashiach speaks Polish. You got to talk to him, be makabel in the proper way. You got to accept him, you got to receive him. The same thing is, a person goes on to the shidduch, right? So a lot of times they say, I don't know, wasn't the right one, or must have been a mistake, or I don't know why. No. A person that goes out, they've got to know. Lo kukach pashut. It's not so simple. If they met, there is something behind it. They got to look a little bit deeper. How many people go out the first time? No, not for me. No, not. You know, they're sent out with me. Who do they think? They don't realize who I am. If they would realize my madrega, so they'd send me out with a puho. Person, don't be fooled. Why? Because a lot of times, there is a klipa that holds people back from getting married. Sometimes a person meets their bashert, they meet the one who, and they talk Polish to them, Dzień dobry. And they could have gotten the whole thing off the ground. They could have gotten married. That's what we always have to remember. We are looking for the next. We are looking for the next person, and who knows if it's not that person that we've met. A couple got together, they were good friends. Good friends. Friends, ain't no such a thing as a platonic relationship. Friends means it should grow to be something. Somebody wants to say, friend, I got a lot of friends. You don't need boyfriends, you don't need girlfriends. You need a marriage partner, you got to get married. Someone that's interested in friends, it's not your man, it's not your girl. You want to have somebody who is interested in setting up a Bayis Nemun B'Yisrael. So this couple, they went out, friends. Somebody said, why don't you get married? No, we're friends. It's not marriage is one thing, friends is the other thing. So they went out as friends. Okay, after a while, they sort of split up. They weren't so friends anymore. 10 years later, they both still weren't married. 10 years later, somebody came and said, you know, I met an unbelievable guy. And this guy, Shimon, I want to tell you, I think he's just what you're looking for. Shimon who? Shimon, oh, no, I know him. We were friends. We were really close friends. What do you mean friends? It's a shidduch. The person got on top of it, believe it or not, would not leave it alone. The couple went out. 10 years later, after they first met, they decided to get engaged. I was invited to the wedding. They called me up to the chuppah. As I came up to the chuppah, the caterer was standing there by the chuppah. I'll never forget it. And he said, you know something? They knew each other 13 years. I didn't know that. He said, tonight, I could have been making a bar mitzvah for them. We have, a lot of times Hashem sends us a beautiful matana. But we have to know, we have to ask a lot, and we should ask Das Torah. We should ask somebody who can answer whether it's true, whether we should leave it go, or whether we should continue. Okay, hishtadlus. Let's talk about it for a minute. Hishtadlus. How much effort do I have to make in order to get married? Okay, what's the effort? The effort is, of course, I have to go to a shadchan. Do you know how many times a person will say, my parent wanted me to go to another shadchan. I saw enough already. I had enough of this. I'm not going to another person. You can never tell. The next person might be the right person. Maybe up until now it wasn't the right one. This one could be the right one, and it doesn't matter who it is. I want to tell you, I made a shidduch for a person, and I didn't even try. What I did was, I had two people that came to an evening shiur, and I told the guy I'm going to help him out, and the girl came, and she was from a foreign country, and I had nobody to suggest to either one. I'm going to tell you. So I said to the guy, she's from a foreign country, I said to the guy, listen, I tell you, I don't think you take the regular kind of girl. You need something like foreign, exotic, something for whatever. This is better for you. He says, Rabbi, you really think so? What can I do? I said, yeah, I think so. Go out. So they went out. They went out. I told him, you go out right now because she had to. So he calls me up, all upset. I said, what's the matter? Is she a nice girl? Rabbi, she's a very nice girl. But she doesn't speak English. I don't speak her language. And we haven't said anything. I said, Skula for Shalom Bayis. You never get into a problem that way. He said, what should I do? I said, go to Barnes & Noble, all right? Get yourself a dictionary with the English and with that, and then you can have great conversation. So for the rest of the night, they went like this. Hi. Yeah. How? Back. You. Ha! They got one sentence down. Believe it or not. Maaseh Shahaya. They got married. They got married. Did I try anything? I put them together. That was the whole thing. Just put it together. And there were others like that as well. We have to know that hishtadlut means that a person is open, they're willing, they're ready. I am going to do something to better myself. It doesn't have to be hishtadlut that is great. Hishtadlut mu'etet, small little thing, will also help. Smallest amount of hishtadlut. But it should not be hishtadlut. It shouldn't be effort that is desperate. It should be in the proper way. What do I mean? If you remember Yosef HaTzadik, right? So he was trying to get out of the Beis Hasurim. He was trying to get out of prison. So he asked the Saramashkim. What did he say to the Saramashkim? He said to him, please, he said to the butler, Michal, let's go. He said to the butler, remember me. Remember me when you get back to the house of Paro. Remember me and put in a good word for me. Now, we know that the Saramashkim completely forgot about him. Completely. Why? The answer is because Rashi tells us he believed in a flesh and blood. He said, will you go and remember me to Paro? He had to sit another 2 years in Tfisa, in prison. 2 additional years in prison. Can you imagine what that meant to somebody who was a tzaddik like Yosef? And for him it was torture. Every day in that place was torture. So, what was the problem? Chazon Ish asked the question. What he did was correct. You have to make ishtadlut. What else could he do? He was in the prison. He couldn't do anything else. He couldn't, ask President Trump for a pardon and take him out of the Egyptian prison. He couldn't go and ask somebody who is, with the individuals that go and they try to lobby on behalf of the prison. He couldn't do anything. That was the most he could do. Says the Chazon Ish, Yesh ishtadlus v'yesh ishtadlus. You got to make it in the proper way. This man, the Saramashkim, was a Baal Gaiva. Baal Gaiva is an ego person. Baal Gaiva. Baal Gaiva, the type of person he is you sat next to him in the wedding the night before for 5 hours. You thought you made a new friend. The next day you see him walking down Main Street and you go, "Hi, how are you?" Hey, do I know you? Did I ever meet you before? Baal Gaiva. He's so full of himself he has no room for others. That was the Saramashkim. Not only that, the Saramashkim was very low on the totem pole. With the blink of an eye, he would be back on death row. He had no say in the court of Paro. So, because of that, he had to stay another 2 years in the Beis Hasurim. When we make ishtadlut, when we make our own effort for shidduchim, we should be very careful because we want to make an effort in the correct way. We want to go in the right places. We want to speak to the right people. We want to try the right things al pi Torah. If we're not sure if this is the correct way or this computer is the correct way of doing it or that side, or they ask me this or ask me that, ask a sheila, ask a Rav, ask a Rebbitzin. See if it's the correct way to go or the incorrect way to go. But hishtadlut is very important. They once asked Rav Shach, they heard that there is a shidduch that is available in Australia. Father heard this. So he asked Rav Shach, is he obligated to travel to Australia to see? Rav Shach said, yeah. Travel to Australia, see if it's the right person, and perhaps that's the right one for your daughter. So an individual should know that it requires hishtadlut. A person came to me, and I've been asked this shaila a number of times. A person had a ticket to go to Eretz Yisrael in between terms, right? It's intercession, midwinter break. They got the ticket already to go to Eretz Yisrael. They have it lined up. They're going to go. They're going to be in Yerushalayim, and they're going to be over here and all different places. They have it wound up. All of a sudden, they got a shidduch. And the guy's in, and he's ready to go out right now. But she has a ticket to Eretz Yisrael, in the tours, and everything set up. So, her father made her call and ask a sheila. Her sheila is, do I go to Eretz Yisrael, or do I take care of the shidduch? What do? One is a person's whole life ahead of them. The other is the plans. It'd be so great to go to Israel, but that's plans for the midwinter break. So I said, would you like to get married? Yeah, Rabbi, 100%. What do you think? I said, so what's the shaila? So she said, Rabbi, are you telling me to cancel my plans? I said, no. Reserve the ticket. Bezrat Hashem, after Sheva Brachot, go for a honeymoon together with the Chatan. Now you already have one ticket. No, serious, I gotta cancel it? I said, of course! What, are you kidding me? You'll be back in 2.5, 3 weeks? You want to wait that long? You know what happens when you wait and you got the matzah ready to be baked in the oven? And you said, wait a minute, I just gotta wait a half a minute. I need to go outside and get some water or a little breath of fresh air. You come in, you got a whole thing, beautiful bread, loaf. Throw it out. No way. Mitzvah baliyadcha. Altach mitzvah. The mitzvah that comes to your hand, don't wait. Do it immediately. You got a chance to do something, don't delay it. That is what we call hishtadlut. It doesn't have to be major. It just has to be enough that a person says, I am ready to go. I'm ready to go on it. Hashem helps us in 1,000 different ways in order to know it. But I just want to say, be very, very careful. And I'm going to answer this, and I want to tell you The reason that I'm going into some of the practical applications and the incidents is because I think people need chizuk. They need great chizuk. They need encouragement in the whole area of shidduchim. Because a lot of times someone says, yeah, it's going hard, and then I heard that story, and I heard that bad story, and this bad story. So they, on Torah Anytime, together with Chazak, printed out a sheet about something that happened just this past week. And it was a story that I had said over, and they sent it out to everybody. So immediately somebody wrote and said, isn't that an unbelievable thing that happened? But is that like a skula that doesn't usually happen or whatever it is? I am telling you, in the area of shidduchim, a person can pray, skula. A person can learn. A person can sponsor a shir like this. There is nothing greater in this entire world. Nothing greater than the world. These are things that the Torah says that a person is allowed to do. These are things that will help an individual in order that they should be able to come closer to the time of their shidduch. That's why I say it over, because I want everybody to have chizuk. Everybody. Don't worry about trying these things. Say shalom harim. Add that in. Don't go and make a shidduch for another person. It's certainly midah keneged midah. All of these things help, and they help greatly. And that's the reason why I say it. So anyhow, a bracha is also not bad. Al te berchas hedyet, kala beinecha. The bracha of a simple person, don't think that it's simple in your eyes. There were a group of secretaries in an Orthodox organization, Torah organization, and I came out, and one of them, feisty, one of them, good-natured, laugh a lot, says, Rabbi, give me a bracha. I looked at him, they're laughing. I said, what do you want a bracha for? I already knew it, but I said, what do you want a bracha? A shidduch. So, I don't know. It was near Purim. I was in a happy mood. I said, you should get an unbelievable Hasidische chassan. This person was far from a Hasidic chatan, right? So she said, me, I know. I said, don't say it. You can never tell what Borei Olam has for you. You can never tell. You think you know. You think you got it all planned out in your own mind. Who and what and how and the look and the age and the time and the bank account, the money, you don't know nothing. We don't know anything. Kilo machshavotai? Machshavotechem. I bring him everywhere. Machshavotechem. Because my thoughts are not your thoughts, right? Hashem says, my derech is not your derech. Do you know how many times a person thought it's exact? And I will tell you a Torah in a moment. So I told a girl, don't you say ever. All of a sudden, feisty one, got all serious. I said, there's only one thing to say when somebody gives you a bracha. You say, Amen. Amen. So she said it. I walked out from the room. I left. A while later, I get a call on the telephone, maybe 6 months. Rabbi, this is so-and-so. I said, yes. I became a kala. Mazal tov. It's unbelievable. Shat tov u'mutzlachas. Wonderful. Yeah, but you're not going to believe the chatan. He is the grandson of one of the great Hasidic rabbis. He wears a shtreimel, a bekashin, and she says, and get this, the socks too. I said, it serves you right. You can never tell. She thought she's going to get the chatan, the man on the campus that walks around, the varsity jacket with the, you over there, whatever, Yeshiva Punovich, right? Yeah, that's what you thought. But it didn't happen that way. Oh, no, I thought he was going to be from there, but he ended up being over there. Oh, no, I thought he was going to be tall, but he wasn't that tall. No, I thought he was going to be here. No, from my neighborhood, Borough Park. In Nebuch, he came from Flatbush. All the things. We never can tell where, when, how, and why. Says the great Vorker. Why does it say, Zivugo shel Adam, to make a shidduch is kosher, kikres yam suf. Is it difficult as splitting the Red Sea? So everybody knows. Was it difficult to split the Red Sea? Says the great Kotzker in the Vorker the following, that when Bnei Yisrael were running away, the Mitzrayim were running behind them, mamish ready, running. Bnei Yisrael were running away. It was unbelievable. As they were running away, they never thought that they could turn back because they were there. From the side were wild animals in the forest. They couldn't go in there. That was death. In front of them was the river, the Yam Suf. Never in a million years did they think that the Yam Suf is going to part and they're going to go on the dry land parched in the middle of that water. Imagine, it's unbelievable that it was dry land. You think about it for 1 minute. You look at the East River. You go down Harlem River Drive. Can you imagine that water goes and you can walk on dry land in the middle? That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. All of a sudden, something they never thought could happen opened up. Bnei Yisrael walked on a dry land. Says the Vorker, the same thing as the Shidduch. No, I thought it was going to be that one. No, I thought it was going to be this one. No, I thought he was going to be from that neighborhood, or from this neighborhood, or from that job, or from this job. Or I thought he was going to work for Hidabroot, but it came a different way. Not so simple. It happens in a way that we will never know. Hashem says, I have a chatan prepared for you. I have a kala prepared for you. But the way that it's going to come to you is going to be something special. That's what a person has to be open for. When you go and you hear that there's a shidduch there, you don't start to ask a million questions about it. All you got to know is, Me'ez Hashem hoysazos hiniflaos be'einenu. This is from Hashem. I will try it. I'll make my ishtadlut. I will pray. And if it was meant for me, I will try to hold on to it. But sometimes a person gets mixed up. They ask me, what is the ikar? What do you look for? What do you look for in a guy? What do you look for in a girl? What's the main things? What should I be worried about? What I shouldn't be worried about? If I tell you the things that people sometimes are worried about, they're getting lost. They're getting lost. They don't even realize what's going on because they're all worried about this trivial incident or this little thing or that little thing. Something that is really non-consequential, inconsequential whatsoever, does not have anything to do with reality. But they're all worried about it and make it a big deal. Well, let me tell you something. There's a great Rabbi Shulam Igra. He has a sefer that is so deep, when you read it, it's difficult to understand even a line. Sometimes it's so hard to read, you're going to close the sefer because it's difficult to read. Okay. When he reached the age of Shidduchim, so there was a wealthy community member, wealthy man, that wanted to have him. And there was a minig that when you want to have the guy for your son-in-law, you invite him to your house and you give him a suda. Now, there's all kinds of laws. You're supposed to set the table, but the guy's not supposed to eat until after you're engaged. That's the custom, okay? And sometimes they test you out like that. But the custom in those days was that you invite the guy and he eats. So they invited Rabbi Shulam Igra, wealthy house. He comes in, the table is set. Whoa, unbelievable. Everything, sushi, everything, okay, set up. And Rabbi Shulam Igra sits down, and the girls, they're in the room, right? Now at that time, as an interesting thing, they just came out with coffee. Now, in our days, you cannot live without coffee. Coffee is like air. You got air, you got coffee. It's an important thing in life. In those days, only the very wealthy people were able to afford the coffee. Rabbi Shulam Igra came from a poor house. He didn't know what coffee was all about. So what did they do? They offered him a cup of black coffee. They put with it, also they had the milk, and then with the milk they also gave him the sugar. Rabbi Shulam Igra, he didn't know what to do with it. So he began to think, what should I do? How does a Ben Torah analyze the way that he's supposed to eat, the way he's supposed to drink in a Torah? What does it say? That achila comes before shtia. You eat before you drink. So he took the sugar and he began to eat the sugar before he drank. Okay, everybody knows. So when he was done eating the sugar, then he had to decide, what do you drink first? Do you drink the black liquid or do you drink the white? So there it says in the Gemara that the Laila koydem liyoim, that the night comes before the daytime. So what did he do? He says, I better drink the black before the white. So he drank down the black. And then afterwards, he drank the milk. When he finished, there was some grains on the bottom of the thing. So he took a spoon from the sugar and he began to eat the grains from the bottom, and he finished it up. The Kala, who was watching this whole thing, fine schmecker, when she saw what was going on, she said, this ain't the guy for me. He is uncouth, unlettered, not cultivated, a person who has no culture. And she called her father into the kitchen, and she began to cry. And he said, what's the matter? My daughter. And she said, you see what that Khatan just did? Do you see what went on with him? Do you see what he did with the coffee, and they ate the sugar and the milk, and who knows what he's going to do next over there? Oh man. The father said, he is a Sefer Torah Katan. He is a small Sefer Torah. Oh, she said, you know what you do with a small Sefer Torah? You put it in the Aron Kodesh. You don't be Mishalech with the Sefer Torah. You don't make a Shidduch with it. You put it there. No matter what the father said, of course, the daughter don't want no part of it. And in the meantime, it broke apart over the milk, the coffee, the sugar. Terrible. A while later, the girl found a different Shidduch. She got married. And, of course, Rabbi Shulam Igra, he found another shidduch and he got married. Years passed, 17 years passed, Gematria Tov. 17 years passed, and that Gvir, that rich man, the father of this daughter that refused Rabbi Shulam Igra, came to the house where the great Rav of Breslau, Rabbi Yeshaya Pick, was. Rabbi Yeshaya Pick was there. And Rabbi Yeshaya Pick is walking back and forth, troubled look on his head. And he's got a letter in his hand, and he's walking back and forth. He looks like he's so troubled, he found something out. So the Gvir said to him, can I help you? Is there something that I can do? You look very upset, very worried. He says, how could you help already? How could you help me? And he kept walking back and forth with it. You could see the pain on his face. Finally, he said to him, tell me anything at all. How can I help in any way? The Rav saw that the man really wanted to help, so he said, I tell you the truth. I got this letter from an Avrech, from a young man, an unbelievable Talmid Chacham. And he wrote me such a chidush with a question. I got no idea how to answer it. I've never seen the depth of this person, whoever's writing this letter. I cannot answer the question. It bothers me. I'm supposed to be the Rav of Breslau, and I can't figure it out. I have to put myself completely into it. Finally, when he was finished, he said, you know something? I don't know. On the bottom of this letter, he signs his name. I didn't hear of him. Mishulam Igra. When the father hears that, he faints on the ground. Rabbi Shaya Pick got very nervous. The whole family came in. They call a doctor. They start to work on him. They give him water. They revive him. Finally, they bring him up. And he tells, Rabbi Shaya Pick, the father, tells him the whole story about his family and the daughter and what happened with the coffee. Rabbi Shaya Pick said, if that's so you should faint again. Go back on the floor. Mi odea, how does a person know who they're supposed to marry? It takes das Torah. Individual has to be able to ask. Or else they could be missing a lot. They don't know. I had somebody, and I'm going to say it out, and it's worthwhile to say it out. The night before a wedding, the parents of the Kala call me up, and they tell me that it's emergency. The Kala has to come in and talk to you about something. What could a kala come in the night before? I got nervous. Mi yodea, who knows what it is? So I said, yes, certainly. 10 o'clock she comes in, and I could see that she had a heavy heart. She's very upset, and she's crying. And I said, what's the matter? She said, I must cancel the wedding. I said, your wedding's tomorrow. What's wrong? She began to tell me this and that and so forth. And I said, you can't cancel the wedding. You have no reason. She said, Rabbi, I'm canceling the wedding. I came here to tell you I'm canceling. I said to her, I've got an invitation. The invitation is inviting me to the city to a hotel. I'm supposed to go. I replied, yes. I'm not a shakran. I don't lie. I'm coming to the wedding. She said, Rebbe, you're not coming to the wedding. There's no wedding, so they don't have to come to anything. I said, I don't know what you're saying. I have invitation. I brought an invitation from the bulletin board. I said, here it is. I was invited. You don't believe me? I'm coming. She said, you cannot come. For 25 minutes, I argued with her that I am coming to the wedding. Finally, she said, you're going to come and the door will be closed. So I said, so fine, I'll stay outside the wedding. What do I care? I'm invited. I said I'm going. I'm going. I'm not a shakran. I don't lie. She said, Rebbe, you can't go. I'm telling you, you can't. I said, look, I don't know what you're telling me. I was invited to the wedding. I'm going to go to the wedding. And I'm expecting to see a wedding. Whatever you're telling me, I don't know. You should have a lot of bracha in life, but I was invited. 2:30 in the morning, she went home. Her father waited outside the entire time. Her father calls me 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, why he thought I'm still up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know, but I'm mocho the guy. Okay. He called me up. He said, Rebbe, I don't know what you told her. I'm not going to ask. But she decided she's going to go to the wedding. The next day, I went to the wedding. They were married b'sha'a tova. Happens to be this past Sukkot, I saw the couple and their 3 children. Happier than you could ever imagine. However, at that time, whatever the adversary wants to do to wreak havoc in this world, almost spoiled that shidduch. And not only that, but sometimes even before it gets off the ground, he already starts to make problems. An individual has to know in this world, we have to be mevater. We have to be mevateret. We have to be willing to give up on certain things. Nobody gets 100%. Could get 99, 99.5, 99.6, 99.7. But an individual has to go with their heart. They have to go with the will and the desire that they want to be bona abayis, them be Yisrael. That is our creed. That is what Hashem wants from us. And then we can see the person that is good. So what did a lot of people tell? A lot of people come back and say, attraction. Koyach hamshacha. Attraction, right? Attraction. So they came to the great Rabbi, the great Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. And the guy said, Hamshacha, the attraction's not there. So he says a very interesting thing. When it talks about V'dovak Ish, that the husband and the wife cling together, it's talking about after they get married. After they get married. So of course, that is when the time of great attraction, the most attraction, happens. That's an interesting thing. He says, what is hamshacha? Meshicha is pulling. That's attraction. We only find that's a kinyan, an act of acquisition, by a donkey. A donkey. You pull him. The shore, the ox in the Talmud, you pull him to acquire him. A chatan and kala, they got to build together. They got to be able to see the good in the other person, the nekudat achein. They got to be able to see the charm in the other person. Before they go out, both of them have to say together, V'noach matzah chen be'enei Hashem, 10 times. V'noach matzah chen be'enei Hashem. Noach found chen in the eyes of Hashem. Skula nifla, that they should find chen. That's what they should be worried about. How they going out all together? So you go in a thing, right? What does it say? What's the Mishnah say? Somebody, Mekabel kol adam, B'sever panim yafot. When you see somebody, you say, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Big simcha on your face, right? So what do? They get in the car, the guy picks up. Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Okay. What's that? B'sever panim yafot. A person smiles. Individuals makabel the other person. They make them feel comfortable. They start talking with them. There's simcha in the air. Right away. Okay, where do you go to school? What's your favorite subject? What do you do? What grade did you get in that? Who was your first grade teacher? Okay, where did your parents go to? What is this? Questions and answers. Magna Carta, which state? Declaration of Independence. Constitution. Pearl Harbor. First session of the United Nations. Who cares? Don't worry about the questions in the checklist. There was a guy called me up the other day. So he wanted to do, how you call it, on a shidduch, he wanted to check out a shidduch. So he began to ask me questions. So after about 20 minutes, I noticed that the questions that he was asking, you should excuse me, were a little bit more intelligent than his actual real intelligence. So I couldn't hold myself back. I said, are you reading these questions from a checklist? He said, Rabbi, how did you know? I said, no, I just had a hunch, it just went like that. The questions on the checklist are not nogeya. We want to know, how do two neshamot relate to each other? What common ground can they find? Can they build together? Can they get along with each other? Can they say we are both here and we are a work in progress? I'm going to work on my midos, and he's going to work on his midos. And you know what? We're going to compromise with each other. That is the way of this world. That is the way of shidduchim. That is the way that people can get together. And I want to tell you, if you're planning, Bezrat Hashem, your future weddings or future children's weddings, whatever happens, so there's certain guys, and you got to make the table settings, the placement of the tables, right? So you sit down and you have all the people. And you got this guy, you have him right, you pick him out, the guy's name, Moshe, right? Moshe. And you say, okay, we can't put him on this table because he doesn't get along with that guy. Can't put him on that table because he's not a good friend. Can't put him on that because he used to be a neighbor with him and they had some kind of a sichsuch. And then by the time you're done, the only place you can put that Moshe is you can put him in the children's table with the kids. He doesn't know them, right? Or you get somebody and you say, oh, okay, Shlomo, save Shlomo, save him. I can put him at any table and he'll be happy. He gets along with everybody. When a person goes out, they got to go out with the right attitude. B'sever panim yafot. I am waiting. Tonight, I am going to go out possibly with my kala. I didn't meet her yet. I'm looking, I'm dreaming, I'm thinking about it. Ulai. Maybe it is. Tonight I'm going out with my chatan. Or you have some people, he is guilty until proven innocent. If he can pass enough tests and he'll go through enough hoops, so then maybe I'll see. We're not going to do it good. Individuals should know that there is a certain amount, min hashamayim, they have opportunities that come to us. Those opportunities that come to each and every one of us are golden opportunities. Every moment is another chance when an individual can be happy for eternity. It all depends. The Sever Panim Yafot, do they look with eyes of chen? Are they optimistic? Do they want to see the good in the next person? To see the bad, it's very simple. But you know an interesting thing, another few weeks, right, will go past, and we will all be looking for chametz at night, right? We're going to be looking, the night of B'dikat chametz, we're all going to be searching around. And we're going to take the candle and the feather and the wooden spoon, and we're going to look around for it with the candle, right? Looking around for the chametz is really looking around for Ra, Yetzer Hara. We clean out the Yetzer Hara from our homes. That's what we do the night of B'dikas chametz. Ask the great Vision Rebbe, why is it that the next day when we burn whatever we found, all the chametz food, the crackers, the Cheerios, the challah, whatever it is, and we burn it all, we also burn the candle. Why? Says the Vision Rebbe, whatever went around looking for bad, you should burn that too. when a person goes out, we want to look for good. We want to see what's good in this world. We want to see the possibility that maybe she is for me, maybe he is for me. That is the way that an individual should go. If they're careful and they ask Das Torah, don't decide on your own. Don't decide on your own. Take it from somebody that can help along. Be open to it, even if you're a person that never asks these things. Don't be afraid, ask. I have to tell you, I was in camp in Pennsylvania, and they asked me to say Pirkei Avot. So there were a few hundred people that came for Pirkei Avot, all the campers, and there were some parents that could stay over as guests. We happened to say, what does it say, Shmon Esrei L'chuppah, right? So we happened to talk about it, and I mentioned, Agav, that it doesn't specifically have to mean that the Chatan is older than the Kala. You could have it that the Kala is older than the Chatan. It doesn't have to be that the guy is older than the girl. And I said that. Afterwards, two parents, they were standing on top of me by the time I was finished, and they said, Rabbi, we don't have to ask you a question. I said, I tell you what, could I do mincha, and then we'll have the question? No! You don't want me to have mincha? No mincha? Okay, ask me a question. We're very nervous. Right before Shabbat, our daughter, who's a seminary girl, called us from Eretz Yisrael. The shadchan called her and told her she has an unbelievable shidduch that is chashuv. The only thing is, the guy was 8 months younger than her. Nebuch, younger than her. They said, no, that's not the din. They called up the shadchan and they said, thank you very much, but our daughter is only going to go out with somebody who is older. Okay. Now they came to the shir and they heard what I said, that sometimes the female part could come in before the male part, and it's possible that the male might be older. So they said to me, what do you think that we should do? So I said, well, I would call the shadchan back. I would get her. Wait, Rabbi, in Eretz Yisrael right now, after Shabbat, it's going to be. So I said, okay, I tell you what to do. You can say Tehillim for the rest of the night. The morning, the first minute that you can call, you call the shadchan and see if you can get it back together. They called up. The shadchan said, wait a minute. You just told me before Shabbat that you don't want your daughter should chas v'sholom go out with a guy that's a few months younger. No, we changed our mind. Why did you change your mind? Well, I will tell you honestly, Rav Goldwasser was in the camp and he gave a shir. Rav Goldwasser? Rav Dovid Goldwasser? Do you know, if you're telling me that he said it, I'm going to let you slide. If he said that, I'm going to try to get it back on. I don't know to this day who she is. I don't know how she knew me, what the case was. They got it back on, and they were married b'sha'a tova mutzlachat. A person has to be careful. Everything that we do is according to Shulchan Aruch. We get up in the morning, the sleeve that I put on first is Shulchan Aruch. The clothing that I wear, Shulchan Aruch. The materials of my clothing, Shulchan Aruch. When I sit down to eat, Shulchan Aruch. When I go to my business, how much I'm charging, and what kind of sales I have in my return policy, Shulchan Aruch. When I come home, and every single thing during my day is dictated by Shulchan Aruch. The most important parasha in a person's life, the parasha of Shidduchim, of marriage and family, has to be according to Shulchan Aruch. In the zchut of tonight's shir, we should hear Besurot Tovot all over the entire world. And all the people that come to Chazak, we should hear Besurot Tovot by each and every one of them. All the people listen to Torah anytime in the whole world should hear Besurot Tovot. The entire Hidabroot in the entire world should have Besurot Tovot, and we should hear the great news of Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'meir of Yameinu.